I want to have that confidence that when a deer comes in, it's going to be a bad day for that deer because I'm going to hit my spot. So having some sort of aiming reference to fall back on, even though I don't think about it anymore, is a good backup for me. And that's one of the reasons that I kind of got stuck with that same sight picture that I have to match is and it's honestly Jeff Phillips talks about how when he went from shooting split finger from 300 to split, and how to when you're not hitting your spot, how he says he adjusts his anchor until he is hitting the spot he wants to hit. That's based that's 100% because his brain has ingrained a sight picture.
Sure.
So if he's got a certain sight picture, he has to manipulate where the trajectory off the bow, the angle off the bow, so that the sight picture that he has ingrained
so whether he
matches
changes his
shot.
sight picture or he changes his anchor, it's gonna
exactly.
And he opted to change his anchor.
Yep. And that's why like I put a little fixed crawl so that because it's like I have tried to break that where it's that arrow is not as close to my target, and I cannot break the ingrained sight picture that I have, and it is not a natural shot. Whereas now, like I said, I don't think about the gap. I just know what my sight picture is at that range. I can draw. I don't even have to hold more than a half a second. I can come back, draw, boom, and it's there. But if I removed my fixed crawl and I went up to the arrow, I guarantee you every shot would shoot high.
But then at the same time, you have to hit that anchor over and over and
exactly.
over to where it becomes
natural. That. Yep, exactly.
And this is the exciting part for me with this next, 8 months until hunting season again.
Yep.
That once the wraps come and I get these arrows fletched and I start practicing, I'm getting really excited to see like where my faults are.
Yep.
And what I need to improve on. And I'm going to set targets multiple yards from 10 to 30 and just go from there.
Yep. And then going through and really focusing on every part of that shot so that you know where those faults are. It's like I've spent so much time doing this that if I'm having if I go out and I'm shooting and I'm getting inconsistencies, I know right away what the problem is. I know if it's having a weak bow arm. I know if it's if I'm torquing the grip. Most of the time, my fault comes in on my release having too much tension in my hand. I know that to mitigate that, sometimes I can just shoot and not even think about it. But to mitigate it completely, I've added in the beginning of my draw cycle and shot cycle is hooking the string and coming back and feeling as if this is just a static hook and my hand is loose, and having all that tension off as I put pressure on, so that as I come back, I didn't start with tension in that hand, gripping that hand, because
that is huge.
I will throw
because I noticed one of Ernie Moe's videos before he died. All this needs to be relaxed.
Yep.
He goes, you just hook the string.
Yep.
All this is relaxed. You're just pulling back from your back.
Yep.
And that made a huge difference in this past week and a half, is because I feel a complete difference from my hand, my palm, back to my elbow.
Yep.
That it's completely different than what I was drawing back.
Yep.
And it's just like you're creating hooks and your back is pulling back the string.
And it's a weird feel.
It is a weird feel.
It is a weird feel.
A week and a half.
Not having tension in your forearm and hand, but still holding that string. But it can be done.
It is.
You know, going out, putting targets at different distances and just, you know, making those random shots, not thinking about the distance, is really good practice. But also, you know, when that moment of truth comes and, you know, a big buck steps out, like, your mind might be blank and you might not be as calm and collected as you just threw a tennis ball, you don't know how far it is. All right, I'm going to shoot that and just shoot.
Now you got a
You
living creature.
you have everything on that shot and how you execute that shot, and you want it to be natural, but also you don't want it to be like where you didn't pay any attention to it.
You
where
want it to be natural, but you want to be intentional.
Exactly. You don't want to say, you know, hey, I'm really good at winging these shots because I shoot that random tennis ball on those leaves and stumps. I wing it, but I'm pretty good at it. You don't want to have that as your confidence base.
Yeah.
When a deer comes in, saying, I really don't know how I do it, but I shoot well. It's like, I know why I shoot well because I can dissect my shot and the parts that I struggle with and that I have to be consciously aware of so that I don't screw it up. Sure. Because you can really throw a shot off by plucking. You can really throw a shot off, you know, by torquing the bow. There are so many different things that can go wrong that having a fairly intentional shot, keeping it simple, I understand that. Keep it simple. Don't think about too much, but try to figure out as you're learning, try to figure out doing different things, how it affects your shot, what makes it better, what feels better. Figure out the things you struggle with so that you can figure out ways to mitigate them, whether that's something that you can correct and then it's gone, or is it something that is going to be when you stop thinking about this, it comes back.
To not make this a traditional instructional video,
yeah,
let's proceed forward to
how cut out the last 20 minutes.
Let's proceed forward onto how this fall is going to go. What's your plan? You're going to be using your new bow.
Yes,
which
this
is an
fall.
Ogama.
Yep, this fall I will be shooting the 2-Tracks Ogama. Having it made currently. Super excited about it. It's a short hybrid flat bow, you know, like reflex, deflex, long bow. It's going to be 54 inches. It's going to be 48 pounds at 26 inches. And I wanted a short bow, mainly because I like hunting on the ground and inside of a blind. It does help having a little shorter bow. My Bear Montana is 64 inches, and mind you, I killed that buck off the ground this year. But there's a lot to look out for that long. This new bow will be 10 inches shorter, which will be nice.
Huge. That's
and
huge.
With a shorter draw, having the shorter bow and having, you know, more dynamic, you know, working limb for a shorter draw, I should get really good performance out of that. And so, yeah, I'm going to be shooting that, and
you're going to be using the Renegades?
Probably shooting the Renegades. I'm going to tinker. I don't know why I keep going. I don't know why I'm so drawn to shooting aluminums.
I'll tell you right now, whoever's watching this and is going to focus on the fall, he's not going to finish with the Renegades. You're going to end up with something completely different.
I built so many arrows this last year. I love it. You know, I build one set that I like, and then I'm like, you know what? I do like the longer arrow, so then I got to have a whole nother build. Try a taper arrow. So, yeah, and I'm running out of color combinations on my fletchings to keep them all different. But, yeah, I'm going to be shooting that 2-Tracks at Ogama. I'm excited about that. My plan is take what I learned from the last 2 seasons. I really felt like I went forward leaps and bounds from 2021 to 2022. I'm pretty happy with my tactics change and the woodsmanship aspect of that. I had a lot of opportunities this last year at deer inside of 20 yards. I put myself in just really ideal situations I'm going to try to eliminate a couple of the issues that I did have, like leaving my weak side cover free. And I'm going to put a nice buck down this year. I came really close last year. This year I'm going to make good on it. I got enough.
Want to make a friendly wager? Who's gonna come up on top with their traditional buck kill?
Yeah, we can talk about that
Off
because
camera.
I'm really confident in it this coming year. I was super confident in my shooting last year, more than I've ever been, and the amount of time that I'm going to put in with the new bow, I have no doubt that it's going to be the same thing. And I am more than likely going to go with the Black Eagle Renegades as full length as I can get.
Same here.
Just got to see what the bow tunes out for and where they fall. But should be coming in probably around a 550 to 580 grain total arrow. That's the goal, somewhere in there. I don't want to be over 600 again. I think that's a pretty good balance there. Yeah, I'd like to hopefully get it to tune out with a 200 grain head. There's just a lot of good options in that weight. And as you get lighter, I just don't see as many good options. And if I do find one I like, I can always add 50 grains on the back end of the insert or a 50 grain adapter on the end. So I got a question for you. What was the main decision? Because you're switching from, compound, gun hunting, compound hunting, and you're going all in. You're excited about shooting traditional bow this year for deer season. What was your main drive to want to switch?
There's been some changes in
Yeah.
my life.
Yep.
So these past couple of years, I'm like, all right, I need to make some changes in the way I do things. And this past year was paying, like the woodsmanship that we talked about before. I wanted to see how successful I can be learning what I can learn in the woods. But since you brought up the whole traditional thing and that kind of sparked my interest, I was like, all right, let's go for that, because I wasn't excited to go out with my bow.
Yeah.
Like, I was excited to go hunting, but not with the equipment that I was using. This
Yeah.
is completely different now. Now it's something like primitive about it. And it's hard to describe something that you like feel inside. You
Yeah.
can't describe it.
Yeah, we're men. We can't describe our feelings that well.
No, we can't. But that's a good point. I feel with this bow that I'm doing something that means more to me instead of doing something like that I have to do or that I'm supposed to do.
Yeah, or
like,
the default selection.
yeah,
Just yep.
exactly.
It's like every gun season when you open up the safe and grab the same deer rifle to go out. It's been there the whole time. The traditional is something that you don't put down all year. At least for me, the compound it got to the point where I could shoot it well enough where I just pull it out a couple weeks before season, shoot it. It's like,
and you're good.
it's balls on. I know how to shoot. It's done. Whereas the traditional bow, you never feel like you are as precise as you need to be, and I'm constantly called to pull it out and shoot and work on things, even though I'm shooting well.
Yeah.
And it's like a constant fine tuning of your ability. I think we have similar reasons for doing this. I felt that it was a challenge, some way that I could challenge myself. That it was almost like setting a personal goal that I knew was going to be hard, but I knew it was achievable if I put in enough time and worked hard enough to get it done. And the time that you are out there in the woods, it matters a lot because you have spent so much time perfecting everything else that you're bringing to the field.
Yeah.
That you've put so much time and effort into this that now your time in the field is precious that you don't want to screw up an opportunity because you've worked so hard leading up. You are more critical when you are out there and you are paying more attention to the little things that could make the difference. And that's
Yes.
something that you don't think about in the compound. You say, well, if I sit 20 yards this way, I can shoot over to that clearing, I can shoot over to that clearing, and I can shoot over into the field over here because I can reach them. And you don't have that luxury with the traditional, and that's a challenge. And when you do pick the right spot and the right direction and the right trail based
all
on
comes
something that
together.
you planned, that you set up the night before thinking about the wind and everything that goes into it, and say, hey, do I sit here or here? And you do pick the correct spot and it comes together. That is a good feeling of accomplishment and
No matter what size
a
the animal.
reassurance of, your thought process and your woodsmanship. And it's just, everything about it is just really good for, even the failures are good for yourself
Yep.
in this game.
That's
it.
That's how I can describe it. It's like a draw, like some magnetism that's like pulling
Yep.
me into it.
Yep. And you can't
I've
stop
never
now because
felt-
you will feel like you gave up on yourself.
I've never felt as passionate about archery when I had my compounds in the past. It's like now it's like this. I spent $100 on this thing.
And they made it backwards too, if you didn't notice.
Nope, they did it the right way. In case anybody didn't know, you're either left-handed or wrong-handed. I think that's a great ending to this show.
Yep.
So, all right, so that's it for today.
Yep.
We need to have more of these conversations.
Yep.